Hello, everyone. So, basically, we'll be talking about a practitioner that I used to basically work on my rehearsals before my performance. So, that was Stanislavski. Themes and social issues explored by the practitioner's work, how I explored them. Usually Stanislavski's work focused on the social issues, political and cultural issues that were happening in Russia, such as the civil unrest, ethics, and identity issues, as he believed in realistic performances. So I decided to choose social issues, which basically the theme of my performance was gender confusion. So I chose to use that, and I chose a style of being as realistic as I can be in my performance. So the ethos explored in my rehearsal, the first one is imagination. I had to imagine myself being in the character's shoes of being so confused about his or her gender. And again, using my imagination to imagine the space, which was the setting of the whole scene, the bedroom. So I had to make sure that I did not rehearse in my bedroom because I'd get way too comfortable. I rehearsed in a different space, which was in the dining room, and using my imagination to create the setting of the space of the bedroom, because I knew during my performance I would not be in my bedroom. I had to use my imagination. And now we're moving on to another ethos that I used. So during my rehearsals, I used emotional memory as well. I had to basically take myself into that space of sadness, anger, and as well as worry, and also tiredness, because the character is being judged for who or he is, basically. So I had to channel my emotions and take myself into that state of feeling all these emotions by digging into myself and taking myself to the past experiences where I felt that certain way, which was basically using my emotional memory. It was a bit difficult, honestly, but I had to honestly just channel my emotions to dig into that space to feel the emotions the character felt. Alright, the last ethos that I used is truthfulness. I really wanted my performance to be as authentic and as real as it can be. So I made sure that I really showed truthful emotions, because at the end of the scene, my character tries to commit suicide. So during my rehearsals, I had to make sure that I meditated a lot, like a lot, because I've went through the same situation where I tried to commit suicide. So I made sure during rehearsals that I meditated, and I was comfortable to a point where I was able to de-roll out of the character, because I didn't want to be too stuck in the character after my performance. So during rehearsal, I meditated like crazy in order to just give the performance the truthfulness and also be able to de-roll out of the character. During my rehearsals, I had to understand why I chose this theme. The reason why I chose this theme is because it's something that is currently happening around the world. People are confused with their gender. Not people confused, but they want to be themselves, but society doesn't allow them to be. So during my rehearsals, I had to make sure that I did a bit of research about gender confusion and also understanding the mental estate of the people who actually went through a point where they felt judged for being who they are. Directing style. The creative artist, that's the directing style that I used. Creativity through costume and sound. So in terms of my costume, during my rehearsals, I made sure that I went through how to change my costume, because in the scene, my character changes from dressing like a woman into dressing like a man. So I had to just make sure that I went through over and over and over again how to change costumes. And then in terms of the sound, I had to make sure that I moved with the sound, because the lyrics of the sound were basically talking about the struggles that gender confusion causes. So I need to make sure that I changed at the right time of the beat and basically understanding the song throughout my rehearsal so I can change at the right moment, at the right time. The physical challenges that I had during my rehearsals was basically working on my walk, because the walk is very important, especially for the character I was playing. I had to show that I'm going to have that transition from being a man to being a female. So walking like a man was a bit of a difficult one during my rehearsals. So I had to make sure that I worked on it very strong because I'm a very girly girl. So during my rehearsals, I worked on my walk, and as well as the outfit changes. I had to make sure, since I'm going to be changing in front of the audience, it looked very nice and it looked very good for the eyes. So I didn't look all over the place when changing from being a female to being a man. And also creating a fake characters on stage. I had to also work on that by creating gestures through my movement. So it made sense that I'm not alone on stage, but I have my invisible characters with me.